We got a call from a viewer last week who brought up China and a discussion of the portrayal of China in American media. And during that conversation, during that phone call, we talked about xenophobia towards Asian Americans over COVID. We talked about intellectual property theft and a few other topics. And I got a very good email from Thomas over the weekend. And Thomas said to me, David, there is a China story to talk about, but it's not really what the caller brought up. Intellectual property theft, it's an issue. It's not the major geopolitical issue with China. There's no real evidence that China intentionally released COVID as a bioweapon. So that's not really like the big story with China. Yes, xenophobia against Asian Americans for real or perceived misdeeds by China is something we should be against. We're not going to be xenophobic against Asian Americans because of something the Chinese government did. That's happening and that's bad. But Thomas wrote, there are real issues with the Chinese Communist Party. Now, that's another issue to clarify. The CCP and China, as in Chinese people, are two different things. We're really talking about the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party. And as Thomas wrote to me, there's a ton of negativity towards China in general that's very surface level. Some of it is based in plain old bigotry. Some of it is peddled by U.S. media. But there are many real reasons to be at odds with the actions of the Chinese Communist Party. So let's look at the real concerns with the Chinese government, the CCP. And these are not reasons to go to war with China. Caveat, I'm not suggesting war. I know that there's people possibly on the revolutionary left who will see this segment and say, I'm calling for another American military intervention. No, I'm not even saying these are reasons to no longer trade with China. If we stop trading with China, it would be disastrous for the American economy as it's currently set up. We're just going to talk about issues with the Chinese government. First, the ongoing Uyghur Genocide. Uyghurs are a Muslim ethnic minority in China. China has been credibly accused of committing crimes against humanity, possibly genocide against the Uyghur population and other mostly Muslim ethnic groups in the northwest region of Xinjiang. Leading human rights groups, including Amnesty and Human Rights Watch, have put out reports accusing China of crimes against humanity for their actions. There are re-education camps. There are horrifying things, and much has been written about it. That's a real substantive issue with the Chinese government. Second, organ harvesting. This is all if you put a positive spin on it, this is, we get organ donations from prisoners who have died of natural causes. That's the story that China would tell. But a tribunal ruled in 2020 that China is forcibly harvesting organs from prisoners who certainly didn't volunteer to donate organs. But it goes even further, possibly even prisoners who were killed for organs, not who have died naturally. The number of transplant centers in China has gone up over 300%. Wait times for organs have come down dramatically. It's not clear why. China doesn't have much in terms of an organized organ donation program. How has it happened? It seems this is a likely explanation, and it is absolutely horrifying. Note that back in 2012, a top Chinese official said China is going to phase out the practice of taking organs from prisoners who have been executed. As of 2020, we believe that that's still going on. Even if it's not, aside from executed, there's a lot of other ways that you can accelerate the process of obtaining organs from prisoners. It seems that that's being done. Absolutely horrifying. Number 3, China so poorly mismanages its own infrastructure that it likely has led to hundreds or more Chinese people. It's hard to get real numbers from the CCP to die due to flooding. And the idea here is that, yes, there have been heavy rainstorms that are not man-made, right? Humans didn't make the rainstorms. But there are serious allegations that the deaths are a result of this infrastructure madness craze in China, where money is poured into projects that look good, sometimes generate returns for people. But meanwhile, simple infrastructure that could be improved to prevent senseless death from heavy rains and people drowning are ignored. Okay, complete mismanagement. That's a real criticism of what's being done. And then such corruption from the CCP that causes all sorts of problems, massive fraud, embezzlement around these half-finished villages where people make a ton of money. The projects are abandoned after the contracts and the cash are handed out, as well as reconstruction projects that never really happen, although many people get rich from them. And then lastly, and this is a really big deal, China's continued aggressive posturing towards India, Taiwan, and the South and East China Seas more generally, each of which we've talked about a little bit in the past. So on India, there have been somewhere between 4 and 10 skirmishes of note between India and China over the border, various face-offs. We've talked about it a little bit on the bonus show before. The situation in the South China Sea involving China, the Philippines, and Vietnam, where you see military activity by China, naval maneuvers, other aggression, outposts being built, concerning. And then also conflicts with Japan in the East China Sea, other part of the sea. It includes Japan having scrambled jets in the past and other escalations. So to be clear, again, I want to be really careful. I don't want war with China. I'm not saying invade China. I'm not saying the U.S. doesn't also do bad things. Lots of countries exhibit this type of aggression. The difference is, number one, a lot of the criticisms of China in the U.S. media and from, people like Trump have been very surface level and lead to xenophobia against Asian Americans, which has no place whatsoever. There are actual horrible things being done by the Chinese government. Many countries that also want to do horrible things don't have both the aggression and the means to carry it out, the financial resources at their disposal, the massive population that China has. Bigotry against Asian Americans because of this, or Chinese people anywhere, is wrong, and we're against it. I'm also not saying cut off China from an economic standpoint. Our economy is now too intertwined with China's. It would take a really long time to be able to unentangle that relationship without destroying the American economy. So I'm not calling for that, but there are real geopolitical issues here and humanitarian issues about which we should be concerned. It's not bigotry to talk about that. And the American media rarely touches these actual issues. Let me know what you think. We'll have more on this story on the David Pakman Show Instagram, which you can find at David Pakman Show on Instagram.